What is going on, my people? Welcome back to the channel for another album review. I'm your boy Nassim the Dream. If you're new to the channel, just go right on ahead and hit the subscribe button and hit the bell as well to always get notified on my newest content. And today I will be reviewing the brand new Shame record, Food for Worms. English post-punk band originating out of South London, Shame is coming into 2023 with a bang. The bang being the LP Food for Worms. There's oddly something about English post-punk music that comes off as such a pleasurable listen to my diet. I'm almost discovering that I may have a fetish for the genre.
The fuck is wrong with you?
Shut up, Chancho. The first thing I'm going to break down to you is the central theme of the record. The first song I had the chance to observe comes from the track Adderal, which is, by the way, the most sweetest moment on the album to me. This track not only pierces the heart with sorrow from this third-person perspective of a friend of sorts losing their life slowly to an Adderall addiction, but the construction of this punk progression just hits its mark at the right moment. This was such a great first taste into the record, a track that all around is such a beautiful song. It's one of my most favorite of the year. I'm mostly mentioning this track initially because of the foreshadow that it introduces to the topic, of which mostly focuses on the well-being and concern of a troubled loved one. Fingers of Steel dives into the frustrations of dealing with a troubled friend when accepting that you can't always be the change for the someone that you care about, mostly that the change has to come from their own action if they so desire, and ultimately accepting that. And we're not always holding on to this focus of the specific person or the tropes of change, but I do feel the majority of this record reflects on these thoughts, as a lot of these songs really speak on the perspective of an individual changing in some sort of context. Then sonically is where a lot of this record really capitalizes on its moments. Easing us into its punk groove starts with the track Fingers of Steel that holds fidelity, and easing us into these punk grooves starts with the track Fingers of Steel that holds validly traditional punk tropes in terms of progression, while still being very present in the moment, but at the same time packing quite the punch. Then turning up the heat at the point with the track Six Pack that has these swift riffs and guitar rolls that bring me back to that Wolf Mother song. Woman, you know the woman, you gotta feel woman, I gotta feel alive. This track displays some interesting tempo shifts that are quite prolific throughout the album, but I do especially love it on here, particularly because of its timing. It's not late nor is it rushed, rather on the money, as it really rallies up on the momentum and a terrific passage. And particularly on this track is where I really do enjoy it, because as its timing is not so late nor rushed, it's rather on the money when it really rallies up and all the momentum into a terrific passage. I felt the band did really well, especially when carrying its momentum as great transition points when they already establish a specific color tone and then know the right time to build with that palette. Moving from Adderal to Orchid to me is the perfect example to really mention on here because of how it really introduces us, this time with the acoustic strumming us into the intro of the song, and then progressing farther into this instrumental as it really scows into the crescendos on the next track, The Fall of Paul, which then transitions us back into this post-punk sound that we were introduced to initially in the record, and then which I personally felt that this album did have a pretty strong conclusion. And you can argue that the last leg is a bit of a bumpy road, but I really did feel like the last track was a great conclusion. But because of that last leg, I feel like it's essential for me to mention of how this album really does go a little bit overboard with its formula. It's to the point where the album can become predictable and it kind of removes some of the smoothness off the surface. And as this does create a stagger into the album, it does become more noticeable the more times you go through this LP, at least the more times I did. I don't know, I just felt like because of that formula and how overused it was, it kind of caused a little bit too much fatigue at moments, and it kind of helped me notice a couple of these tracks are mostly plain with the songwriting. Plain to me, or they're recycled, which isn't a totally bad thing, but it's just really noticeable. But I can't help to adore the aspect of the album, as its themes really speak to me and help me relate and understand. And it also adds to how much of the songs that I do adore sonically really help me engage into significant emotional intelligence. So ultimately, I enter and leave this record feeling pretty good. Overall, feeling very satisfied with my listen. And when it's all said and done, I still feel the need to encourage to share this record to you. With that said, I'm gonna give Shame's Food for Worms a 76%. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed, go and like, share, comment down below of what you thought of this record. Don't forget to check down in the description for all my separate checklist ratings for the album, more videos, and also the links to my social media accounts so you can keep with me on the daily, and I'm gonna catch you in the next one. Deuces.